Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, and thank you, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here this year. Last year, we covered this issue, digital identities, in length. And I think this year, this is even more, as Mr. Ambassador just mentioned now, even more complex and an important issue. And the reason is because we human, we are linear. We go step by step, whether technology is exponential. So from last year, we might have learned 5% of increase of what we had learned last year as a humans, whether the algorithms are increased exponentially by thousands %. So it is actually a lost battle for humans to be able to control those algorithms, which are becoming more and more smarter, and they are becoming entities by itself. I always say that one of the major issues of artificial intelligence actually is to call artificial intelligence. It should have been called human intelligence from the beginning to avoid to create a new entity which is outside human control. I challenge you, everybody, just to see and maybe to position my presentation. If you go to your mobiles and you are using already ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT a simple question: do you know who I am? And the answer is going to tell you, and you can do that by yourself, is, sorry, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. And if you ask the question, do you know what a human is? The algorithm is going to say, sorry, I don't know what a human is. So the problem we are facing, and I raised that issue last year, is that when the web was created, actually here in Geneva by the CERN, I was in the UN at that time. I was one of the cybersecurity experts of the UN before I created my own companies. The identity was not embedded into the original architecture of the web. So the web doesn't know what a human is, neither the internet, neither the fourth industrial revolution, neither artificial intelligence. So what has happened is that the concentration of identities is now in platforms, mainly American platforms, Chinese platforms, and in Europe, actually, we are far away. And those platforms use identities as a consumer identity. So we are consumers for them. We are not human. A platform does not understand the difference neither, because it's sitting on the top of the internet, of the difference between a human and a consumer. So when AI, which is fed by identity data, you know, AI algorithms, needs data as a way to learn, those AI algorithms become extraordinarily effective, but totally detached from humanity. So we are in this time on age in what I call an Oppenheimer moment, right? I'm sure all of you saw the Oppenheimer movie, and you realize how concerned he was when he realized that the atomic bomb was so dangerous and needs to have some kind of process to mitigate the risk. We don't have that process on AI. AI is totally wild, is totally out of control. The genie is out of the box, to the point that even the founders of AI, you know, when you talk to Altman or you talk to Musk or any other AI tycoon, they're going to tell you, we are unable to certify that this is not going to be dangerous for humans. So in this meeting, like was last year, we have been talking about the wonderful things AI can do, and I think this is a very important subject. But we need also to discuss about the infrastructure issues of AI. I mean, the part of the iceberg that we don't see. You know, in an iceberg, it's only 1/8 of the part that you see, an 8th part you don't see it. In AI, it's the same. So rather to just talking about how AI is going to be bad or good for us, what about if we start to really deep dive on the issues and how can we mitigate those issues? AI now is confronted with a commercial battle. Who owns AI capability are going to be the titans of the fourth industrial revolution. The companies that control the data, they are the companies that they are able to teach the AI algorithm. So companies like Facebook, like Twitter, like Google, that has tons of data on us, they obviously have a priority usage of that data because they can train their AI with that data. Companies or countries do not have that data are suffering. Other countries, like in Asia, China in particular, then they have maybe a less conscious protection of data spirit. They might also collect data in an unprecedented way and teach their algorithm. So what is the role of developing countries? How are we going to be next year? As I say again, we are linear, AI is exponential. Next year, we will not necessarily be able to control the movement anymore. So the United Nations offers a framework, which is the Sustainable Development Goal 16.6, and says that by the year 2030, every human being should have a digital identity. Actually, they call a political identity, but at the end of the day, fourth industrial revolution, a political identity, is a digital identity. But what are we doing in order to make that happen? Why we are not able to issue that identity and decentralize AI? The only way that AI can serve humanity is by centralizing AI. We are in a centric AI model, like we were in cloud computing, and in the future it's going to be in quantum. Quantum is arriving in 5 years' time, and quantum is going to even accelerate even further the exponentiality of AI. So the only way that we can stop that movement is by decentralizing AI. The same way we do with electricity, with roads, with airports. We don't depend on 1 or 2 countries on electricity. We don't put all our airports in 1 or 2 cities. We don't put critical infrastructure in the hands of a privileged group of nations. Every single country in the world should have a piece of the decentralization process of the AI, which is even before regulation, because regulation does not solve the problem. It's very hard to regulate AI. But what you can do is to open the source. OpenAI, actually, idea before Microsoft invested $10 billion, was to be an open AI, an AI that you can go into the kernel, into the core, and study the code. And by studying the code, you can analyze if there's any bias in the code, if somebody has forgot something, if the code has been developed with philosophers and religion leaders and other people, and they are bringing other considerations in that code, and not only a technology consideration. But this was not done. AI now is centralized. AI needs to be decentralized, and by decentralizing AI, we will solve the problem of identity at the same time, and every single human being will be able to express themselves. As I mentioned last year, and it's a very important point, the current civilization is being designed by a very small group of people because the others didn't have a voice. And in the fourth industrial revolution, every single human being should have a voice. And that voice should be reinforced by localized national AI algorithms. They are designed at a national level, and they are able to fundament their companies, their industries, their government, and the well-being of that country. We are in a very similar moment that we were when people were using donkeys and horses to travel in a road, and then suddenly the car arrived, and everybody has to move from the donkey, the dog, the horse to the car, and they didn't know how to drive a car. They didn't have any driver license. They didn't have any roads. There were a lot of accidents. There were a lot of issues, and all of them started to cause mortality. People started to die, and only after that the legislation started to arrive. Driving license, red lights, and roads were established so to diminish the human losses. So we're in a situation like that with AI. If AI is not control and supervise with watchdogs organizations, and they will ensure that it's not harmful for human beings, we will suffer before we see the real benefits. Thank you very much.